If you want to achieve fluency in English, then this is the only video you need to watch. In this video, I am going to give you a step-by-step blueprint that will entirely transform your English. And I guarantee that if you follow this roadmap with consistency and allow some time to yourself, then nobody can stop you to become fluent in English. And I am 100% sure of it because this is how I have achieved this level and I am learning English every single day. See, many of you have been following multiple steps to improve your language skill, spending many hours every single day just to enhance your English. But no matter what steps you follow, or no matter how many minutes you spend every single day to improve your language, you are not able to make it. You still struggle to speak English fluently the way others do. And you often look at others and think that why can't I speak like them? I am following the same thing the way others are doing. Then why can't I speak like them? But don't worry, because in this video, I am going to share my strategies that I have used to learn this language from scratch. So if you don't know, then let me tell you that I have learned this language from scratch because just 2 years ago, I was not even able to understand English properly. And now I'm able to speak the way I want. So if you're someone who thinks that learning English is really difficult, then let me tell you, it is. But if you follow the right strategy and if you pay enough attention to the right method, then you can easily speak English fluently. It is not as hard as we think. So without further delay, let's quickly jump into the roadmap. So the first strategy I paid enough attention to was consumption. Whenever I say consumption, I certainly do not say any specific step because when it comes to consumption, it includes many steps, be it listening, be it watching, be it reading. But if you're someone who is starting out and if you are someone who does not have good command over this language, then I would recommend you to follow every single step. Because when I started out, I had no idea about this language. So I was paying enough attention to every single step. I was reading books, I was reading different kinds of articles, I was watching different kinds of videos, I have listened to hundreds of podcasts. So I paid enough attention to every single thing so that I have good command over this language. I always emphasize consumption because I truly believe that if you want to do anything, you must have enough information of that thing no matter what you want to do, be it any language, be it any skill. If you want to work somewhere, you must have enough information about that place or what are the requirements to get into that. The same rule applies when it comes to learning English. A lot of people pay enough attention to speaking and they focus on speaking every single day, and later on they complain that I make a lot of mistakes, or probably I am someone who struggles to speak or forgets most of the words the moment I try to speak. So the only thing I have realized is that when you start focusing a lot on speaking without focusing on consumption. Well, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to not pay attention to speaking. That is also mandatory, but I will speak about it later on. Right now, we are focusing on consumption. So initially, I would recommend you to focus on consumption as much as you can. You have to focus on every single steps. If you're someone who thinks that you can't really read books because you are busy or you have any other reason, that could be anything. There are many things out there you can read in your free time. You can read different types of articles, you can read posts, you can go to Twitter and read uh, A lot of people have been posting nowadays on every single platform. There are many things you can find out there. So read anything you could find just to enhance your language skill. And the same rule applies when it comes to listening and watching. But I'm someone who prefer listening over watching because of my own reason. But when I started out, when I was not able to speak like this, I used to focus on both, and I think I paid enough attention to watching because many times we think we are going to listen, but we don't know how this word looks like. And at that time, watching helps a lot because when you're watching, everybody says that you have to turn on the subtitle. So at the same time, you can look at the sentence and listen the same word or listen the same sentence, and this is recommended by almost everyone. I mean, all the videos I have watched, everybody has said the same thing, that focus on looking at the subtitle if you are starting out, because it will help you to understand how sentences are supposed to be structured, and it will help you so much to have the good understanding of this language. Now you may be wondering that why am I supposed to spend most of my time on these steps, be it listening, watching or reading. It is very important because if you focus on consumption, then your mind will grasp everything. And later on, it will help you to go with the flow, to speak flawless English without translating everything in your head or without getting stuck the moment you try to speak. So, if you have enough information about something, then it will help you so much later on. Once you have paid enough attention to consumption, be it in the form of listening, watching, or reading. Now, the second most crucial step comes, and that is building your vocabulary. This is the biggest mistake many people make. Even I did the same thing when I was starting out. I did not really have vocabulary, and even though I did have, I had translated everything from my mother tongue to English, and like that's how I learned vocabulary, and it was awful. I mean, this is something I would never recommend you to do. When it comes to vocabulary, a lot of people misunderstand this concept. They think when somebody is talking about building vocabulary, then I'm supposed to learn advanced and those fancy words. No, not at all. Even I don't use fancy words, and I think I'm not really good at it, but who cares? At least I'm able to express myself. So now coming back to the point, what we were talking about, that building vocabulary. So a lot of people get stuck while speaking because they do not really have sufficient amount of vocabulary. You don't really need to have list of vocabulary, like hundreds of vocabularies and like 500 vocabularies. And a lot of people make this mistake. They go to Google and search that, okay, suggest me 50 words I can use as a beginner, or suggest me 100 words I can use as an intermediate speaker. At least I did this, so I think a lot of people do. Even I have talked to people and they said the same thing, but this is not the right way to learn vocabulary. The only thing you have to focus on while consumption is absorbing as many new words as you can. And yeah, please don't really overcomplicate this, because a lot of people think that learning vocabulary is super difficult, but it is not. What you have to do, whenever you are listening, reading, or watching, just pay enough attention to words. And whenever you are being active, so there are two ways to learn things, active and passive. Many times we focus on passive learning and we think, why are not we getting the result? Whereas we are supposed to be active so that our mind can grasp everything naturally. And whenever we are being active, you are going to find so many relevant and new words that will make you realize that, okay, this is the word sounds good and it seems I can use this word in my daily life, so I am going to learn this one. You can write that down anywhere and repeat as frequently as you can and try to implement that one word you have learned in your conversation or whenever you try to speak. And this is the only way through which you can improve your vocabulary. Once you have paid enough attention to consumption, your mind has grasped a lot of things naturally. You have paid enough attention to vocabulary and learned so many new words that you actually use in your daily life. Here comes the very important part, and it's something I would say the most vital step everybody must follow, and that is speaking. I think speaking is one of the steps a lot of people get stuck because they don't really know what to focus on. Somebody suggests them that they should be speaking in front of mirror, they should be speaking in front of camera, they should be using simple sentence, they should be doing this. I think the list goes on. So initially, there are chances that you will be confused that what to do. So what exactly I did? Initially, I just focused on creating small sentences in my mother tongue. So whatever your mother tongue is, make sure that you are creating small sentences in that and then try to translate it in English. Once you do it, just repeat that out loud as if you are actually speaking that sentence. This is kind of warm up for your tongue before you actually start to speak English fluently. Oftentimes we tend to get confused and feel awful for ourselves for not performing well. So whenever you look at someone who is speaking really well and you look at yourself and think that why can't I speak like that person? So let me tell you one thing, that you cannot speak like that person right now because that person has been practicing for a very long period of time. And here you are who had just began to speak. Then why are you comparing your journey with someone else's journey? So don't really do it. Once you have done that little warm up, here comes the most crucial part, and that is explaining everything around you. That could be any incident that is happening to you, that could be anything you're feeling, that could be how you spent your day, that could be what is your next plan, that could be anything you want. I believe this is the best way to start off because it will help you to have the good understanding of sentences, that how to construct sentence or what kind of words you're supposed to use and how to speak without being prepared. So it will help you to tackle these problems, which will lead you to speak English fluently. Once you have crossed these levels, another step you are going to focus on is summarizing everything you have listened, watched, or read. No matter what you have done, you have to explain it to yourself as if you're speaking in front of others. So you can imagine or you can visualize yourself speaking in front of thousands of people. I mean, this is the best way to feel confident and to pronounce words correctly and to have that kind of aura. So I think this is something has helped me a lot, that visualize yourself that you're speaking in front of thousands of people and you're good to go. So whatever you have listened or read, now you are going to explain it in your own words. So if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, then you can have a bullet points that these are the steps I'm going to speak about and you have to begin. Don't really worry about making mistakes. Don't worry about being perfect because I think once you look for that perfection, it will ruin that creativity and that curiosity you have within you. So don't really do it. Once you have achieved these levels, you are good to go. Now, I'm sure you can speak fluent English. At least you can easily have conversation with anyone. I would recommend you to focus on speaking with others if you have any partner. And nowadays, there are many platforms. I mean, there are many applications out there you can use to enhance your English by talking to strangers, by talking to any tutor. So, whatever seems interesting to you or whatever you find the most helpful to you, because if something is working best for me might not work best for you. So first of all, you have to figure things out. If something is working amazing for you, then just go for it and speak every single day. But here is the disclaimer. As I already mentioned in the beginning, that if you want to get result and want to speak in English fluently, you will have to be really consistent with this roadmap. You can't really have this expectation that you followed this step or these strategies for a week or so, and now you're expecting yourself to speak flawless and fluent English until or unless you have some superpowers or you are an extraordinary person. And I mean, only in that case it is going to work. But all the results you are looking for, it will take a lot of time. So you will have to be a little patient with yourself, and you will have to allow some time to yourself to grasp everything so that you can speak English naturally. That's all about this video. These are the only steps you are required to follow to enhance your English and have good command over this language. I hope you found this video helpful and got to know something or other from this one. And I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye bye.